Hello, and welcome to this live stream of today's public meeting, brought to you by Downtown Grand Rapids, Inc. Please stay tuned, and we'll see you shortly. Hello, and welcome to this live stream of today's public meeting, brought to you by Downtown Grand Rapids, Inc. Please stay tuned, and we'll see you shortly. Hello, and welcome to this live stream of today's public meeting, brought to you by Downtown Grand Rapids, Inc. Please stay tuned, and we'll see you shortly. Hello, and welcome to this live stream of today's public meeting, brought to you by Downtown Grand Rapids, Inc. Please stay tuned, and we'll see you shortly.
All right, it got quiet for some reason, 9 o'clock. I would like to call to order this Downtown Development Authority Board meeting, Wednesday, November 13th at 9 a.m. We do have an exciting last minute 11th hour add-on to the agenda. Grand Action, nice report from Grand Action 2.0. So if I could have a motion to add that as the new number 9.
So moved.
All right, any comments or objections? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Thank you. Next, we have the approval. I'm very lonely today. This is, it's quite lonely. All right. We need to approve the October 9th, 2024 minutes, which were in your packet. Any comments or corrections?
So moved. Support.
All right, we have a motion and support. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Now we have the acceptance of the October 31, 2024 statements. These are preliminary though. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, in your packet is statements as of October 31. They are not preliminary. They are interim.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know, is that on the agenda? Most everything pretty routine this month. Your debt service payments were paid for both the amphitheater and the Lions Square bonds. As you can see, the first few items on Statement D. The non-tax fund is about 47% of the way through its budget, and the local tax fund about 35% of the way through its budget. Happy to take any questions if there are, or if there's any questions on the informational statements showing the spending of the bond proceeds.
Any questions? All right, hearing none, I would accept a motion to approve Statement D.
So moved.
Support?
Any other comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion carries for the not preliminary October 31 statements. Next, Early Childhood Center funding request. Mr. Kelly, you want to
Yeah, I'll
Key
tee this
that
up,
up.
and then we do have some guests here that'll kind of give us some additional information. But just to sort of outline what's in front of you this morning, so memo is included in your packet. The ask for you is to support the Early Childhood Center being proposed at the Rapid Central Station at an amount not to exceed $200,000. Wanted to invite Leslie and Dawn from Kellogg and YMCA. They're going to give us a quick reminder on what the project is, and then we can open it up for any questions. So with that, I will turn it over to you.
Good morning.
Good morning. Again, Leslie Rose with the Kellogg Foundation, and
Good morning, Dawn Bell with the YMCA of Greater Grand Rapids.
so you all heard a little bit about this project back in July. So we are here to give a high-level overview and answer any questions you might have. So just by way of reminder, this project would be the first in the country to site an early childhood center in our Central Transit Center, downtown Grand Rapids. We all know that the need for early care and education in our city and county is great. This effort is one of many, and Dawn can speak to sort of the broader efforts, but this project is unique in that it really is focused on a transit-oriented approach to childcare. So again, this is located in the heart of our city, in a neighborhood that is in low supply of childcare, and really looking to preserve a public space for a public good in our city. Just to get us all oriented to the map, the Rapid Central Station is highlighted there. You can see many employers around, the corridors around that surround the center. And Dawn, you want to talk a little bit about the partnership?
Thank you, Leslie. So the research does show we have tens of thousands seat gap in Kent County. Another way to help make this real for you is there are hundreds of families on a wait list for childcare at the YMCA, and 65% of our families on the wait list don't put the child's birth date, they put a due date. So this is very real for families, and I know you all know that for working families, access to high quality early care and ed is the top barrier to a parent being able to retain or go back to work. So the Y, in partnership with Grand Rapids Public, Head Start for Kent County and the Rapid, are excited to collaborate on opening this center, which will add 100 early care and ed spaces to our community. And then the Y, in partnership with other partners around the community, are also on track to open 3 additional centers over the next 3 years to help close that gap. So here you can see Central Station Early Childhood Center will be a mixed income center, so blending and braiding public funding, Head Start, federal Head Start funding, state-funded preschool funding, and then tuition or state scholarship. The goal here, though, is that 80% of the slots will go to high-need families, so those who might income qualify for publicly funded early care and ed. There will be 2 playgrounds. We'll show you some of the renderings here. So this is the building that you all may be familiar with. And then there'll be 1 playground on the ground level for the littlest learners, and then a really unique rooftop playground, which would be the 2nd rooftop early childhood playground in the state, the first at the DDH branch of the Y downtown.
So just getting to an update on where this project is from a fundraising standpoint. This should be a $7.9 million renovation. And to date, the community has come in with pledges at $6.8 million on the capital side. We know that the DGRI is interested in the accessibility components of this project. So there is lots of ramping and extra egress for to ensure accessibility to the plant, and then an elevator in the space as well. So certainly lots of community support, and with that, I mean, we're happy to take any questions that you might have, comments, and just thank you so much. Anything else?
Any questions? We're going through regulatory approval right now with the state with a target date of opening next fall, so late August with the school year.
Any questions? Yes.
And as somebody who's got firsthand experience with the wait list, I appreciate the project. A question on the operations, because I know this is focused on the capital campaign. Is it intended that the center would operate sustainably on a go-forward basis?
Great question, Greg. So as I'm sure all of you are aware, we have some systemic issues with how we fund early care and ed in this state. So that's why this is really focused on blending and braiding funding. So to have that partnership with leveraging Grand Rapids Public and state-funded preschool will help leverage additional Head Start dollars that are anticipated to come into our community, and then having that balance of families that can't afford to pay tuition will help make this sustainable.
Any other questions? Yes, Louis.
This is mostly probably for Tim in terms of the funding of this. It's a big ask to relative to what we normally get, and I see here some of it is for the FY25 budget, and then some of it coming out of FY26. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so since this came forward sort of mid-budget year, we identified space within our approved FY25 budget, and then are anticipating as we go through the budgeting process for 26 that we'd have capacity to
Build
add
it
in
in.
150. So as we sort of outlined in the memo, initial contribution for this year would be 50,000, and then 150 in the year ahead.
Got it.
And maybe just another point to underline, I think want to make sure we're highlighting this is at a public facility. So as opposed to something operated in a private facility, this is clearly within the statute of our authority to spend money on, and maybe a little non-traditional, but given the need and obviously the importance of this for all of downtown, if not the city, we felt like it was worthwhile to bring forward.
Anything else? All right, I would entertain a motion to approve the funding.
It's moved.
Support.
All right. Any other questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Division Avenue funding request. Seems like we've been here before. Mr. Miller.
I think that's right.
I know,
You've been here before?
yes.
Yeah, so we have had some discussions about Division Avenue in various places over the course of many years. This particular section runs from Fulton Street north to about Crescent Street. And it's the part that you probably are all aware of that was under construction all of last year. So it's a two-phase project. The first phase, which is finishing up right now, really dealt with putting a bunch of stuff underground. So both franchise utilities and city utilities were put in, and as part of the project, then the next phase is next year, and that's the part that we would see. So all of the street reconstruction, a new pavement, new sidewalks. In this particular case, there's also protected bike lanes adjacent to the sidewalk. And obviously new lighting and that sort of stuff to create the entourage for the street space itself. So as the memo states, this is about a $12.4 million project. It went to the City Commission on October 22nd to authorize that funding. The bids were received on November 1st, and because of the way that this is funded and bid through MDOT, that's a little bit out of sequence, but that's typically how it works with those kind of projects when MDOT is involved. So those bids came in about 1.7% less than what was anticipated. And as a result of that, the funding that we were seeking from the DDA dropped from what the city memo stated at about $892,000 down to $605,000. That's primarily related to the estimates for the snowmelt replacement that is expected to occur near Monroe Center and Division Avenue. That dropped a lot from what the engineer's opinion of probable cost was. So within the memo, it does break down all of these various costs, but the two primary elements that the DDA is being asked to fund are street lighting upgrades, which basically brings us from a standard city fiberglass pole to the decorative poles that currently exist south of Fulton Street. So they are the decorative ones with the two mast arms, so there's 2 lights per pole. This would be a total of about 30 poles that we would be installing here. And then the snow melt replacement is essentially at Monroe Center because that intersection needs to be reconstructed to meet current ADA requirements. So if you look at that today, there's brick, but there's not tactile warning surfaces there at those crosswalks, so they will be reconstructing that edge, and as a result of that, some of the snow melt is going to be disturbed. So those are the two primary elements in the construction costs that we're talking about, and then within the breakdown, there's some other elements that we are also being asked to help fund. These are percentages, as is typical on city projects, and there's also a contingency in here. So this is ultimately a not-to-exceed number that we would be requesting that the DDA fund for the project. And I think there were a couple of questions that we had regarding the upgrade of street lighting. And this is always a question that we struggle through with the engineering department. In this particular case, the standard cost for light fixtures on this street was about $216,000. So that includes about 25 standard lights. Because we're going to this upgraded light, we actually have to upgrade that to 5 additional lights because of the lumens and things that are related to that. So the enhanced items cost about $525,000. So the difference that we're requesting is about $308,000. So that's the baseline is about 216. The upgrade is about 525. And so the difference is $308,000. So we are credited for those existing standard lights that they would be putting in if we were not involved in doing an enhancement. So the request today is for a total of $605,400, not to exceed, for this project. And I'm happy to take any questions related to this.
Any questions? Yes.
Well, on the line item for administration of 25,549, what is that made of?
That is city engineering administrative costs, which are typical on most projects that we do with engineering.
That's a good question. Yeah. Any other questions? All right, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Support. All right, we have a motion and support. Any other comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries.
Thank you.
Now we have something more fun, liquor license request. Mr. Elledge, good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Here today to request approval of a liquor license for Le Macaron. Did I get that right? Close enough. Located at 132 Monroe Center. They opened back in June of 2022. And they offer a variety of delicious pastries, which I can attest to firsthand. Here to tell you more about how a liquor license will impact her business is Bobby Joe Blanton, owner of Le Macaron.
Thank you. Good morning.
Morning.
Thank you for having me. I'm Bobby Joe Blanton. we do own Le Macaron on Monroe Center, right across from Rosa Park. And we're looking to acquire a liquor license to offer and increase our sales by providing some specialty cocktails. So some of the ones that we have thought about as a team is specialty mimosas with a scoop of gelato, bougie hot chocolate, maybe chocolate dipped wine glasses with your wine, things like that, that just pair along with our desserts already. We would like to have this offering because right now we focus on coffees. So that is great in the mornings, but in the evenings, not everybody wants coffee. And so it'd be nice to have something special to offer with those desserts in the evening. Most of our business is in the evening. It seems like we have a increase in sales around the dinner time, and I think a lot of people come in and stop and spend time after dinner or maybe even before dinner, but they don't spend a lot of time there. A lot of it is to go, and we would like to have this opportunity for them to stay and spend a little bit more time in the location.
Okay.
Questions for me on that?
Any questions? Yes.
Also, probably a question for Tim. I looked at the resolution and I feel like I ask this every time that we get a liquor license, so I apologize. We are the ones issuing the license? No, right?
No, we are a consenting body in this resolution request, and the path essentially goes, it starts at the city clerk office, applicant has to submit the material to get reviewed, they make sure that everything's in order, then it comes to us for consent, then it goes to the city commission, then it goes to the MLCC.
Got it.
So it's a long winding path. The local piece of it can usually happen relatively quickly, 2 months or so, and then the state piece will usually lag a little beyond that. So we're a stop along the way, but we're
Yeah.
not the approver, and we don't issue a license.
So about how long before they get the liquor license?
We typically advise between 4 and 6 months, with the majority of that time at the state. And we try to help push it along as much as we can, but at the end of the day, it's at the mercy of the MLCC.
I'll ask this again in a year.
That's fine. Hopefully I'll give you the same answer.
I have a question too about that. Are there a limited number of licenses, or are we able to, I read additional, you have the authority to grant additional, okay.
That's right, yeah, no cap on this type of license.
Yes. Actually, Lucy and I think are asking really big picture questions. And maybe at some point we could get guidance. By what reasonable standard would we ever say no? Like what's the big picture guiding policy here? Generally more seems to bring more activity, more business, that's good. So it seems like the default is yes, but I'm just curious if there's any guardrails that we should have in mind and what, pray tell, would they be, so.
I think that's a conversation we have. I think initially the way, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I think there was a fear of over-concentration of liquor licenses when the statute was originally established in 1980. I think some of the thinking on that has changed. But I think at the end of the day, the DDA could create their own guidelines in terms of what they want to evaluate.
That's true.
And then it would just be up to you to make sure that we're following those.
Now, that being said, the city commission could still override you.
Right.
And the MLCC could certainly grant it anyway.
Right.
But bear in mind, these are outside of the normal quota for liquor licenses. And this was created because people struggled to get those quota licenses. There was actually a shortage, which is why they came up with this category within authority districts, so.
So these licenses, correct me if I'm wrong,
They live and die with the business.
That's right, it's not transferable.
That is
They're
correct,
not
yeah.
transferable.
Yeah.
They're
You don't own
They're
them.
actually much less expensive.
They are. They're cheap by liquor license standards.
Correct, yeah.
And the applicant doesn't own them, and when they're done using them, they return them to the MLCC.
A little liquor license education. So you had no idea what you started, right?
Well, we had to go through the whole process of learning exactly what you guys were talking about.
Yeah. Any other questions? All right.
Support.
All right. Any other comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's all return to the river.
Yes.
Something even a little more fun.
Hello, everybody. My name is Megan Cacho. I'm the events manager here at Downtown Grand Rapids, Inc., and I'm here to give you all a little recap of our two-day music and art festival, Return to the River. So I want to start off by just giving an overview of our footprint. So the map here shows that we start at 555 and we go all the way up to Linear. We also cross over 6th Street, and this year we extended to Front Avenue to add another stage. The Saturday and Sunday lineup give you an idea of all the different performers happening throughout the course of the 2 days. And both of the images in general just kind of show you all of the things happening at once throughout the course of the festival. And to give you an even deeper look, here is our recap video.
It's love. It's all love here. I love Grand Rapids.
Trata con mi vida que yo no puedo.
I love it. I love it. I've been coming downtown dancing. Hello.
This river means a lot to Michiganders and Grand Rapidians. It's really great, and DJI does a great, wonderful job with that.
The Return to the River Festival is about as diverse as Grand Rapids is, and I am pleasantly surprised to see that.
It's the return.
This festival opens up the river to so many people. It makes the river a big part of the city.
And they got free cotton candy over there too, I saw. I think it's free cotton candy. Free cotton candy. I think it's for the kids, but it's for everybody.
It feels so connected. You can walk down the river one way, down the river the other way, and just see so much going on.
Yeah, I took a walk around the whole place. My favorite truck, Los Pinches Tacos, is here. So shout out to them, dude. They're so good.
Well, I just like seeing everyone energized about like saving the planet. That's what matters most to me.
Our video team did an incredible job with that video. And just to give you all a high-level overview of all the activities that happen at each location. So 555 Monroe is our DJ spot. We had 19 DJs featured. Shrooms, the international art installation by Amigo and Amigo, were stationed there. We had artisan stage design and shade structures, food truck zone, outdoor games, seating, and performers. The next spot is more dubbed our family-friendly zone. So this is the band stage at 6th Street Park. We had 8 local bands, 5 community and cultural organizations, another international art installation, 2 local art installations, another artisan stage design and shade structures, as you can see in the pictures, food trucks, games, outdoor furniture, and this is the beginning of where our Riverwalk activity trail begins. So up the Riverwalk and into Canal Park, we had 17 different Riverwalk activities, all led by local artists and activators. We had 5 muralists who were partnered with regional conservation organizations, 2 community participatory art installations, a lounge at Linear, and a collaboration with City Built Brewery with a Return to the River beer this year. And across the bridge was our art and activation market. We had 30 local artists featured there, 15 educational booths, and we extended over to Front Avenue with a new edition of an educational speaker series with 14 different local speakers. And a couple data points I just wanted to touch on. We noticed that all attendees either went to or from a park or a business, which is just bringing vibrancy in the area and driving traffic to the businesses. And another point that I thought was really interesting is across the board of all of our minorities, we saw an uptick in percentage, which just really shows that we are bringing culturally inclusive performers, activities, really something for everybody to enjoy at the festival. And here are just a couple pictures that I really love. The one on the right is just a bunch of people walking on the Riverwalk, which we love to see. I don't think I ever see a crowd that big on the Riverwalk. And then the other 2 pictures are just from our stages during prime time. It's just really cool to see that many people along the river and in those parks. And a couple just additional stats. We had 17 food trucks and 5 food carts, 15 different circus performers, and one that I'm particularly proud of. Out of our 32 bookings, we had 28 different genres of music, which means almost every single booking was a different genre of music. And a couple other really fun pictures. The top right, his name is Furbert. He was designed and made by hand by our event coordinator, Pia. And that was our sensory zone for the kids, literally made out of cardboard boxes. Amazing. And we had Malcolm. He's an Anishinaabe traditional native hoop dancer. The pom-poms were one of our interactive community activities. We also had yoga on Sunday. And then the bottom right is one of our local art installations. You crank this big wheel and you just get mist that comes out, which is great because it was, I think, 90 degrees that day. And then I'll pass it along to Bill. I'll give your marketing stats.
Thank you. I'll keep it brief, but needless to say, as you can tell from the visuals in the video, this is an incredibly easy event for us to market, so thank you for that. It makes our job quite simple, but we, as we often do for like World of Winter and additional events, we lean relatively heavily on social media influencers. We have 2 paths we take with this. One, we work directly with a local woman named Yeli Romero of Accesso VIP, and then we also contract with a service that reaches out to social media influencers and gives them the content, and they generate all of their own content. This is very helpful to us because it allows it to be more of like a trusted third-party validation of the event and what we're doing, as opposed to an ad popping up in your feed or seeing a billboard or something like that. That said, we do still do print ads in review. We find that review is a great resource for people looking for entertainment options. Oftentimes people kind of flip through a review magazine just to check what's going on from a music and art perspective, so this fits very well with that. And then we do targeted digital advertising with a local firm that is more of that popping up in your feed. You'll see imagery and clickable links to get more information about the festival. One thing to note about the digital advertising is we perform both with World of Winter and with Return to the River. We perform above the industry average on click-through rates and cost per clicks and engagements, which is really encouraging from our perspective because this means that people aren't just blowing by our ads in their feed, they're actually clicking and going to the website, which when you have a festival of this scale is pretty important because communicating the schedule and the amount of art and all of those things is pretty difficult in someone's social media feed. So that's kind of a high-level overview of that. I should mention this generates a lot of earned media for us, which is great. That's free for advertising for us. Also reaches another audience that may not be as engaged on social media. So yeah, in general, we follow a relatively similar playbook year over year, but we try to tweak it around the margins to up that engagement with all the content. So any questions you have, I'd be happy to take them.
Have there been any thoughts about expanding this to?
I'm going to turn that back over to Megan.
So actually next year, and here are our dates for next year, save the date. Canal Park will be under construction. So we are having to get a little bit creative with the footprint that we use, and we're looking to potentially expand over to Front Avenue and down to Fish Ladder just to bring more people into that area. But the whole goal and idea for this is as our riverfront expands, we continue to move this festival and expand the riverfront along with it so that we bring people there.
And I was speaking to expanding more dates.
Oh, okay, yeah.
As opposed to.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's something that we could potentially look at as well. Definitely, especially as a 3-day festival, we've talked about at least adding a Friday. But in terms of, capacity, this festival is a big lift for us.
I looked at Milwaukee and what they've been able to accomplish with their summer festival.
Yes, yeah, it's huge.
Yeah. It had to start somewhere.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. We started with 1 day, so we're getting there.
True, that's true.
Anybody else have any questions, comments? Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
I was just going to add while Megan's still up there, but full team effort, as she mentioned, but Megan really sort of came up with this idea and has been leading the team to get it done. So just wanted to acknowledge all of her work in doing that. Congrats on another success. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
All right, downtown community garden presentation. That's next.
Good morning. My name is Lauren Sudgeest. I am the administrative assistant here at DGRI, and this is Corey Mattine, the project manager at DGRI. And together we worked on the downtown community garden, and this was its first year. We got approved for funding from the DDA in February of 2024, and we are here to recap the success of our first year. Our plan for this space was to transform this blank parking lot in the top left corner. It's located at 250 Seward Avenue, just north of the Las Conchas futsal courts. And our first step was top right picture, which was to paint the parking lot. This was to create vibrancy in the space and also reduce the heat island effect of the sun baking the asphalt, which would then affect the plants. So we had volunteers come out, we painted the whole parking lot, and then we had more volunteers come out and we built all of the beds using cedar planks. We started with just raw materials and built the whole thing in a day. It was an amazing accomplishment. And then we filled the beds, and then we got to planting at the beginning of June. So it's been really awesome to see this space transformed into what it is now. And we have a quick recap video also of how this season went. In the spring of 2024, Downtown Grand Rapids, Inc. invested in the creation of a downtown community garden at Las Conchas. This investment was a response to feedback from downtown neighbors and goals in the GR Forward plan that focused on creating more access to fresh food and additional green space downtown. To accomplish this, the Downtown Community Garden reclaimed 15 underutilized surface parking spaces and replaced them with 55 raised bed garden plots. Powered by downtown neighbors, volunteers, and community partners, the parking lot was painted and the beds were built. The garden now provides an accessible community space for gardening and composting, complete with irrigation and shared tools for members to use. Over the spring, summer, and fall, we've held community events and workshops, culminating in a fall harvest celebration to cap off an amazing first year. We're grateful for the support and expertise of our local partner, Jade Rabbit, as well as the time and energy from our volunteers and garden members that made this effort possible. Our team is excited to take the lessons we've learned into 2025 for an even better year at the Downtown Community Garden. Stay tuned for more updates and come see us next year.
So yeah, it was a great recap video. Just wanted to highlight how much success we've had at the garden, how much fun we've been doing this project. Just a quick recap of some of the stats that we have. So 55 individual plots. Give a shout out to Jessica, because she had a plot as well, and it seemed like she had a lot of fun. The ambassadors as well, and I'm gonna highlight Jamie, because she's been a big part of the success and maintenance of the garden. Events, so we had 33 garden events hosted, and that was workshops, garden parties, as well as other different various events at Las Conchas and at the community garden. Over 1,200 plants grown, so that was a variation of like zucchini, peppers, tomatoes, berries, I think even watermelons and herbs were grown. And so then that led to 2,000 pounds of food grown. And then pushing the emphasis on the community part of the community garden, we partnered with 24 businesses and organizations to help facilitate the programming and events. And then the nice thing about this open space is we had 400 unique individuals engaged through the garden and associated events and programming. So a lot of success, a lot of fun, and we just hope next year that we can keep building on that success. So any questions or any thoughts, we're open to discuss.
The food, what happens? 2,000 pounds is obviously a lot. Where does it go? Do people take it? Does it go to?
Yeah, most people that were growing, because it was their plot, they were taking that food and they were telling us wonderful stories of what they were making and trying out new things. So that was mostly where a lot of the food went.
Yeah, we also had, a lot of the 2,000 pounds was eaten. We had issues with people not harvesting the amount of vegetables that were grown, so we have many plans for next year to increase our harvesting efforts and share that with the community as well now. We have like a sharing station at the garden where people can leave excess produce and stuff. So we recognize that even though we were growing a ton of food, like we can definitely share that more than we were in this previous season. So exciting stuff for next year.
That's great. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much.
Yes, thank you. Good work. All right, next is our Grand Action 2.0 presentation. Sarah from Grand Action has done this once or twice, I
And I'll be
believe.
brief. Thanks for having me this morning, and again, thanks for your continued partnership on the work that we're doing. You want to switch to the next slide, Tim? I'm pleased to report that with regard to the Acrisure Amphitheater, we are on schedule and we're on budget. So we have signed a GMP contract consistent with the budget that we had originally developed, and so we're also behind our unknowns on the site. So the site is a challenging one to develop, but thankfully, we are now at a point where we feel really confident about the soil conditions and the underground geotechnical aspects of the site so that we don't have any unknowns before us. They're all behind us. And so we've managed through the challenges we faced, and we are still on track for the 26 opening. This is a photo that's pointing northwest. You can see that the structure itself is beginning to take shape, and flip through the next couple there, Tim. You can see that the access around the site is being maintained, not only for the construction access, but also for the Salt Dome access for this winter. So I did confirm with Public Services that they are satisfied with the access to the Salt Dome for this final season of use, and we're in good shape. The, go back. The first piece of steel was put into place earlier this week, Monday. Flip to the next slide there, Tim. So you can see now that we have lifted a 70,000-pound piece of steel into place, and it fit. So that was a good sign. So things are going well here, and I'm also pleased to report on the next slide, we have reported to the City Commission that we have exceeded the inclusion plan goal of $6 million invested in underrepresented subcontractors, and we're currently at $9.4 million. So that's a substantial increase in what we expected could be possible, so we're thankful for that, and have a lot of stories to tell about the individuals that are working not only as employees on the site, but subcontractors that got work on the project as a result of engagement sessions or partnerships with other prime contractors. Over 61% of the payroll is also being given to underrepresented employees. So people in our community that typically don't work on these projects are working on these projects, and more than half of that money is going to them individually. There have been 2 full-time hires from the Urban League. Actually, I think there might be 3 now, but Pioneer has hired them directly. It's not specific to the project. It is a full-time job for them going forward on a variety of projects. And so there are important partnerships that are actually developing the outcomes that we anticipated, and we hope that that will continue. Also a great partnership with West Michigan Construction Institute. These are some students that actually did work on the site. Thank you for your partnership. There were a couple of different sessions. The project is a learning lab, and we want it to be. It's a community project that has a lot to offer our youth, and encouraging people to pursue careers in this industry and trade. And so not only was West Michigan Construction Institute part of this, but also students from Grand Valley State University and Ferris State University have been on site. And we will continue to do this throughout the project. It's not limited. So if you have thoughts and ideas on groups that might want to tour the site, we're happy to accommodate them, including all of you. If you have an interest in coming out on site to see various milestones or just talk with the folks that are working on the site, I can tell you it's a unique project because the folks working on the project are very passionate about the work that they're doing because they know it has a really big community impact. And so I think it's an exciting opportunity to be part of it. Next slide, Tim. So in terms of next steps, the building enclosure will happen next summer. Interior finishes will continue after that. Seating installation in winter of 26 with the expectation that the first concert will be in May of 26. So the plan is that we will, gosh, I don't know what those last 2 bullets are. There's a typo there, but we are on track, on schedule, and things are moving along swiftly. Happy to take any questions on this before we move on to soccer stadium.
Yes, Luis?
What, if anything, is being done with that Market Street exit off of 131, right? I take that all the time, and when there's concerts, it's already kind of a mess. And I can only imagine it's going to get worse with that. Do you know what's going on with that?
Okay, next question.
Good question. It is continuing to be evaluated, and there is a plan to put in essentially an event management plan for this site along with the stadium and in concert with the arena and the convention center as well. So at this point, there are no changes planned, but it's being evaluated because, of course, traffic and safety is a very important aspect of event management, and we'll be sure to make sure that any modifications are made to ensure public safety.
Any other questions?
Since WMCI was mentioned, I'll just take a moment to say thank you. It is work to welcome students onto an active job site. And when I reached out to Pioneer and asked if they'd be willing to entertain hosting our students, it was just such an enthusiastic yes. And not only once, but come back and see the progression of the project. So thank you, Hera, and thank you to the teams that said yes to our students. One of our strategic plan goals at WMCI is to ensure that our students see professionals like them working in the field, and nearly half of our high school students are Hispanic, Latino, 10% are women. So when Audrey, the ironworker from Pioneer, was up welding, it was pretty exceptional for our students to see. So a really powerful project that's going to leave a lasting impact on our students. So very selfishly, thank you for that.
Okay.
Tim, you want to flip to the soccer stadium? Oh, one last thing on the amphitheater site. We still have yet to complete the development of the site with housing development. And so just know that we are still pursuing the development potential on the site to add new housing units and other retail and active uses on the first floor. So just know that that is continued work ahead of us. And we haven't lost sight of that goal to increase the density and increase the housing units on site. All right, the stadium development. Unfortunately, the mayor and Al aren't here, but a big thanks to them for the work that they've done to help us secure the additional public funding that was necessary for this project. Go to the next slides, Tim. So we are in the process of completing construction documents and doing the pre-construction work necessary to again, overachieve, hopefully, this inclusion goal of investing in our community. And so the work is being undertaken now. The public funding approvals are in place, and we do have a lead donor announcement planned for Monday. So we're making great progress and good strides. But a big thanks to Al and the mayor. They've done phenomenal work with our elected officials to make this possible. It's a big investment in the community, and I think the returns are going to be definitely tenfold. We do plan to break ground in the first quarter of next year. We're on track for that schedule, and the completion of construction should be in Q1 of 27. So schedule and budget is still tracking, and as we get through the pre-construction activities, we'll know more about that in the future. Just a quick image of the Concourse Club and Garden Club. We're continuing to render some images of the different spaces that will be available in the stadium. And it's going to be unique. It's going to be a great opportunity not only to sit in the general admission seating, but also explore other spaces within the stadium to socialize and connect. This is the last slide, Tim, that we'll take a look at. But I want to make mention of a couple things. We're doing a lot of work around sharing information about the project. So if you walk through the Skywalk in the DeVos Place, there are some new images hanging where the Art Prize work hung during that time. And it starts to communicate the vision and the future of both of the projects. So I would encourage you to take a look at those. It also highlights some of the unique architectural amenities that are part of the project that make them special and create that unique, iconic look that we're going for. And so check that out. Also, there's a website, Grand River Riverfront, starting to communicate some of the messaging and social media around that and the projects themselves, but a lot of content being generated. And so with that, I'll happily answer any questions that you might have on the stadium project.
Questions on stadium? Yes.
Kara, has there been any further developments or thoughts on what to use the stadium for when there's not home games?
Yeah, that's a great question. One we talked a little bit about when we sought the public funding. There is a plan to use this facility year-round. And so there are things like Art Prize, World of Winter, Broom Ball in the winter months, but other competitions outside of soccer as well. So the West Michigan Sports Commission is really excited about programming the space with Meyer State Games and a variety of other competitions, marching bands, because it is a nice venue that can be used for a variety of different events. So the plan would be to host events here as often as possible, including that of the youth. So YMCA partnership, the proximity is great. How do we get our youth engaged with the team? Because the team will be doing a lot of community and, engagement and hosting a lot of activities at the stadium itself. So it does present a great opportunity for a variety of different events throughout the year. Chris Kindle Market's been mentioned, another location for Chris Kindle Market. So the public space in that plaza is going to be remarkable and a huge opportunity for the future.
Anything else? Many said we couldn't do two major projects at once.
We're doing it, aren't we, Rick? And thank you to the DDA for your support and continued partnership. Don't hesitate to reach out. I'm happy to do a report anytime.
Thanks, Karen.
Thanks, Karen.
All right, next, Executive Director report. Mr. Kelly,
Yeah, thank you.
are you going to tell us what precipitated the mustache growth? Or?
Happy November, everyone. Only 19 more days.
Is that part of your report? Okay.
Not part of my report. I don't have any slides today, but just a couple of notes. First, wanted to make sure I acknowledge Corey and Lauren for their work on the community garden and to get a chance to say thank you for all their work and leadership on that project, and great job presenting. So thanks for that. Couple things to highlight. One, if you were watching the news or anywhere near City Hall yesterday, you knew there was a public hearing going on for Fulton Market. So public hearing went through yesterday. There's a vote scheduled for December 3rd, so that is still marching along for its local approvals. Sticking with development news, the Studio Park Tower ribbon cutting was a few weeks ago. So that project is now open. If anyone's looking to move downtown, they have leasing agents that are happy to take your calls. On the event side of things, we had a giant pumpkin carving at Rosa Parks a few weeks ago on Halloween. Included a dog costume parade from Fido and Stitch in Monroe North. So it was a lot of fun. There's some great pictures on social media if you follow us there. Also wanted to point out World of Winter large traveling installs have been announced. You've seen those videos and pictures over the past couple of months. But we're getting media inquiries and really gearing up for World of Winter to kick off here shortly. Small Business Saturday starts on the third Thursday, so November 21st. We are planning a special announcement for a project that we've been working on internally with the mayor. I won't give too much away now, but just pay attention on the 21st. So it'll be a lot of fun and the clue I'll give you that it has to do with the scavenger hunt. So we'll leave it there, and you'll know a little bit more on the 21st. And then the last thing I wanted to point out is the final 10 trees are being planted tomorrow as part of our annual planning. And this will help us reach our 10% canopy goal. So shout out to Melvin, who has been doing a lot of work on that over the past few years, but momentous occasion, and of course we'll need to plant more in the years ahead, but that will officially get us to our 10% goal. That is my report.
Thank you. Any questions for Tim? All right. Next is public comment. If there's anyone in the audience that would like to step forward, now is your opportunity. All right. Seeing none, board member discussion. This should get heated. But it won't. All right. All right. Thank you, everyone. We're adjourned. We get it a little fun.
Oh, I know.
I was hoping you would entertain a motion to make him shave.